We're going to step the right foot off the board once again. So step your right foot off. We're going to come into triangle pose here. I want you to take your foot that's on the board and put it in the center. So that's going to be much less vibration when it's in the center. That's all right. You're going to turn your right foot out so it is 90 degrees from the left one. Okay, so you're looking at me from behind, but I have this, feet are perpendicular to each other. Okay, and then you're going to step that right foot out away from the board just a couple of feet. So it's a shortened position here. From here, you're going to straighten that front leg, but a little bit of a bend. So as opposed to a lunge bend, I want to be almost straight with that front leg. Turn your heart open towards, so your heart is facing the same direction as your right foot on the floor. My board kind of does a little stop after 10 minutes, so if that's you, hit it again, come back up. If you were working at a 10, maybe bring it up just like 2 notches. All right, from here, arms out to your sides like the letter T. I want you to hinge your upper body towards the left, so reach out and forward. Again, this leg is straighter than bent, but we've got a little bend in the knee. Reach, reach, reach. As you reach, imagine drawing your outer left hip back towards your right heel. Now we're going to come into triangle pose. So you're just going to reach for today. Your hand, maybe it's on the outside of the shin, right? Maybe it's closer up to the knee. We're not really putting any pressure here. You're going to take that right arm and reach it up, and I want you to think about lengthening from your tail out through the crown of your head. Again, little tiny softness in that front knee there. Keep your back leg strong and active. Breathe. Tone your belly, use that strength to come upright. Okay, from here, we're going to turn the right foot back in a little bit, so we're going to turn it in about 45 degrees. So you keep the heel on the floor. So you want to turn your back foot so heel's on the floor. Maybe those back toes are facing the upper right corner of your mat. I want you to put your hands on your hips and then turn your hips towards your board. Turn them as close to the board as you can while keeping that back leg straight. From here, you're going to hinge from your hips. So we're folding from the hips, but keeping the back long. Go about like halfway from upright to the floor, and then pause. And put a bend in that knee. Put a bend in that front knee. You can keep your back leg nice and straight. That's going to get into the hamstring. We're going to start to feel that hamstring muscle open. If you have the ability to put your hands like fingertips on the board, and what I mean by ability is if you can do this without letting your spine round and collapse. So keep stretching that tail straight back behind you and your heart straight forward. A little bit of a bend in that front knee. And this right here, you're going to feel that hamstring kind of opening up as the technology is working to strengthen it at the same time. Wonderful way for this pose, right? And if those hands are on the floor, you get that little bonus vibration of the shoulders. We're going to get to the upper body in just a minute. If your hands are on the board, put them on your hips, tone your belly, make your way upright. Very nice. Let's do this. Step your left foot off the board. I'm going to take a moment before we go second side to just root down, feet into the floor. Feel that solid connection to the floor, lengthen through the crown of your head. Just be present. Fantastic. So we're going to do this on the second side. If you walk a little closer to your board, put your right foot and place that foot right in the middle. You're going to step this left foot back. So go back about where the right foot was, and now spin that foot. So turn so that you can think about the outer blade of your left foot being parallel to that outer edge of your mat. Okay, turn your belly and your ribs and your torso towards the left, so your heart and your head for now are going the same way as those left toes. Straighten-ish is my favorite expression. So this leg is more straight than bent, but I'm not locking into the knee. Keep it a little bent there. Take your arms out to your sides like the letter T. You can keep your heart facing the same way as the left toes. Turn your head, look over your right middle finger. Now, from here, lean, reach sideways towards the right. Again, keep a little bit of a bend in that front knee. Keep that back leg straight. When you can't go any further, you can bring your hands down, however far it gets. Take your left arm or top arm and reach it up. And here we are in our triangle pose. Take those deep, full breaths right here. Wonderful. And then tone your belly, use that strength to come back upright. You can turn, so you're going to turn those left toes in at about a 45-degree angle. Want those left toes to maybe now they face that upper left corner of your board. Keep your left leg straight. Turn your hips towards the board. Even if they're a little off, right? If they're not perfectly square, don't worry about it. Keep that little bit of a bend in the front knee, and it might need to be a lot of a bend, you'll see. As you come down, think about hinging with a nice long spine. Sometimes we call that flat back, right? So reach that tail back behind you. Go about halfway down and then pause there. And for a lot of us, we need to bend the knee even more here to really get the hamstrings so that they can take this, right? Put your fingertips on the floor, or on the board rather, if you can keep that length in your spine, if you can keep your spine from rounding a whole lot. You know, you can always just keep the hands on the hips if that's your preference as well. Maintain that nice strong structure in the back leg. Breathe. And the more that front leg can get straight while keeping the spine long, the more you're going to feel that lengthening while working the hamstring. Good. Put your hands on your hips if they're on the board. Tone your belly and use that strength to come on up. Great, great, great. Step your right foot off of the board. Okay, we're going to come down onto our knees and put the hands on the board. Before you put your hands on the board, I want you to turn this down. So what I do, if I'm working at like a 10, I'm going to put it at about a 5. So with the upper body, I want the board to be moving slower. Trust me, you will get the benefits from this. Faster, higher speeds aren't necessarily harder with this vibration board. So I want you to come down onto your hands and knees and get yourself in a position. So you want to get these hands so that they're about as wide as your shoulders. And keep your knees down here and see if you can move your shoulders kind of away from your ears. Shift the weight so that you feel like it's even, so it's in the top part of your palm as well as in the tips of your fingers here. And just take a couple of nice breaths right here. We're really starting to work the muscles of the arms and the upper body. Women in particular don't have as much just kind of inherent upper body strength. So this kind of an activity, pretty simple activity here, is a wonderful way for us to fire up all of those muscles into the upper body. We're going to turn this into a downward facing dog. So I want you to tuck those toes, take your knees back about, 4 or 5 inches. So you're in a longer position. Keep those arms active. So claw the board with your fingertips. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, and push back towards this down dog. Now, if you feel a little slippery on the board, you always want to push down and forward. You want to push down on that board. And ideally, the board is on your yoga mat, so it's not going to slide anywhere. Breathe. Lift your hips. Stretch your heels down to the floor. And that may feel a lot into your head, so we don't hold it very long. Go ahead and bring your knees back down onto the mat. Good. From here, so those knees, you want those knees back a bit. We don't want the knees right underneath us here. You're going to put a little bend in your elbows, and as you bend those elbows, point the elbows straight back behind you. I want you to slightly lower your hips as you reach the front of your heart forward. So now we're coming into a bit of a back bend here. Right? It's not quite an up dog because we got the elbows bent and we keep the knees down. Good. Go ahead and take your hips back, untuck your toes, and now do this. Take your hips all the way back to your heels. Keep your hands on the board and breathe. Good, child's pose here. We've got a little action still in the upper body with the board. We don't have to do a whole lot in order to, you know, maybe you're sweating, maybe you just feel like you're getting great work, right? I think this board is fantastic for so many of us. Wonderful healing properties. Wonderful way to work the muscles differently. All right, we're gonna come up. You're gonna sit onto your board. So I personally like sitting away from where the little display is, right? Just have a seat, and you can keep it at a 5. That feels pretty good. You're gonna bend your knees, plant your feet. I want you to put your hands on the board. So if you notice, my hips are more towards the front. My hands are just a little alongside. My hips are a little behind them anyway. I want you to draw your shoulders on your back and just arch your chest here. Keep a little bit of a bend in the elbows. Same idea that we had with our legs there. And it might feel a little vibraty with the head there. Someday I'll figure out how to make my alarm not be so darn loud. So a little bend in the elbows, keep arching the back. Very nice. And then just sit upright, if you will. I want you to keep your left knee bent. Maybe even walk that left foot in a little closer towards you. You're going to extend your right leg out in front of you. Because we're lifted off the floor, we have to be real mindful to not dump into that knee joint. So keep just a little bend, a little engagement in that leg. You're going to twist. So the general rule with twisting is that if you're pregnant, you want to twist openly. So you want to, if you're pregnant and you're taking this practice, I want you to twist to the right. If you're not, you can grab the front of your shin and you're going to twist to the left. You sit up nice and tall, turn from your belly and your ribs and your torso. Imagine that your spine is lifting and twisting you. I mean, even if you twisted to the right, you're going to do really well with that. Good. Go ahead and untwist. We're going to take it on the other side. So bend your right knee. Extend your left leg. Again, be mindful to keep that left leg engaged. So then my pregnant gals, right? Pregnant ladies, twist to the left this time. Non-pregnant people, twist to the right. Turn from your belly, your ribs, your torso, your head. And breathe. Sometimes it's fun to make a little, like you sigh it out vocally, right? So, because it makes kind of a cool sound, right? We can certainly get a little childlike with this board. Let's untwist it. Okay, I want you to bring the bottoms of your feet together and open both knees out to the sides for bound ankle pose or Baddha Konasana. Some of us find it easier to get this shape if we shift. If you get your sit bones almost to the front edge of that board, you'll find that you can sit upright a little bit more comfortable. Now, not all of us can sit upright here, so you can always put your hands on the board. That I want you to keep a little bit of a bend in your elbows if you have that. And if not, maybe you hold on to just like the front of your shins just to get that lift in your spine. We're going to take about 3 full rounds of breath right here. Inhale deeply. And exhale fully. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Really nice. You're going to slowly, you can bring your knees back in. You're going to slowly make your way off of your board. Just climb over to the side there.